Good morning. It is time to get up with a Thursday night thriller. Flacco goes wacko as the Burrowless Bengals bite back against Pittsburgh. We're all over it. Meanwhile, the fallout in Philly. Could these Eagles be grounded for good if they can't flip the script in Minnesota? Which sets up the game of the week. Could be Cowboys-Commanders. If that door is open in the East, which of these contenders is ready to roll through? Answers to those and other questions as we get up.
Yes!
No one brings the heat like Jessica Mendoza. We're all over the baseball from yesterday. The football squad is ready to go. Fortinball's got you covered from every possible gambling direction. Let's do this on a Friday. We start last night in Cincinnati. The game of the night, Steelers and the Bengals. It's Flacco, it's Rodgers. They're a combined 81 years old at kickoff. 3rd and 6 on the Steelers' opening drive. Aaron Rodgers has lots of time.
They said he was too old, but Aaron Rodgers buys time, scrambles around, and finds another tight end, Jonnu Smith, for a touchdown. 8 seconds, he held that football.
Steelers take an early 7-0 lead, and you're thinking, okay, here they come. They're 4-1. They're for real. You're thinking wrong because Jamar Chase had himself an unbelievable night. This is a Bengals second and goal. Bart, why is Chase in single coverage?
I don't know. The same thing make you laugh, make you cry. You talk about $179 million on defense. I need a rebate.
Jalen Ramsey singled up on him out there, and that's the theme of the night. Harry will talk about as we continue. They just wouldn't get away from that coverage. Now, very next drive, as Burrow loves it, Steelers on a 1st and 10. Where exactly is Rodgers throwing this ball?
This is inexcusable. He should have hit his check down, Jalen Warren, who was right there over the ball. Sometimes you get greedy. This is the only bad play I thought Aaron Rodgers made last night.
And that sets up this. It's Flacco, it's T. Higgins, and Peter. They're not going to get him 29 yards.
No, they're not. It wasn't just Jamar Chase last night. T. Higgins had a huge game as well. It won't be discussed as much.
These receivers for Cincinnati finally opening it up. Now we're going the other way. And Bart, how about the defensive effort? DJ Turner wrestling an interception away from DK.
I think this was really the change part of the game, taking points off the board. 1 knee equals 2 feet. Turnover, big play.
How about I take Yoko on Greg?
Bengals turn it into a field goal. They're up 17-10. Now, 3 minutes to play in the game. Steelers down by 6. And this is vintage Aaron Rodgers. On a 2nd and long, look at him finding space, finding Pat Freiermuth, and he's going the rest of the distance.
36 career comebacks from Aaron Rodgers. Only problem is that other guy on the field has 29.
Look at Rodgers spinning away, still slings it as good as anybody you've ever seen. Steelers take a 31-30
Broderick
lead.
Jones jumping all over him. I'm not sure I love that. But that's all right.
He didn't love it either. But here's the point. Steelers, that big-time defense, time to do your job and close out the game. And they didn't. Flacco, Chase, 16 catches, franchise record, 161 yards. Drive continues. Tick, 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 as Chris Berman would say. 2 plays later, 2nd and 8. How about this throw from Flacco?
Unbelievable. Look at the trajectory of the football, allowing his receiver to just go and run underneath it.
How smart.
There goes that man coverage again.
Higgins taking that knee,
So
6
smart.
catches. So that enables them to run the clock down. 11 seconds left. Evan McPherson, 36 yards. It's up. It's good. Bengals take the lead 33-31. Joe Burrow loves it, but there's one moment of drama remaining. You know, no one has ever thrown the Hail Mary better than Aaron Rodgers, and he demonstrates it here. What you're about to see is a 41-year-old man unleash a ball 69 yards in the air, the longest throw of the season, and it's dangerous, but it's knocked away. Joe Flacco throws for 342, and the Bengals win the Icy Hot Bowl 33-31. After Aaron, listen.
You know, we had a chance to really open up some space, but we're 4-2, still first in the division. Got a couple, home games coming up, back to back. Another Sunday night opportunity against my former team. So, I'm not going to ride the roller coaster, and I know Mike isn't. And hopefully you guys follow suit.
Aaron, I love you, but unfortunately, we're not going to do that. No. We are definitely not following that suit. Bart, I start with you. No one loves to hate on the Steelers more than you do. At 4-2, what do we say about a Steeler, particularly a defense last night that couldn't get it done at all?
I mean, we knew that this was a soft 4-2. I mean, they should have lost to the Jets. You talk about being outscored in a lot of games as they won or outrushed, outgained. They were able to get 5 turnovers against the Patriots. This just brings them back to the pack. And I think this is why we talked about the Baltimore Ravens still being a live dog when they get back and get healthy. But this is also about the Cincinnati Bengals. And the Cincinnati Bengals recognize that they had a quarterback that may not be able to play everywhere, but they were perfect for what they like to do with those tremendous receivers. These are the best receivers Joe Flacco's ever had in his career. He's a guy that still has a strong arm. You can keep him upright. He proved that he can make every throw in the book.
So the Steelers open the door, and maybe the Ravens can come from back in the pack and catch up, and maybe the Bengals can too. I want everyone to focus. Harry and I had a nice breakfast this morning, and we got to talking in depth. The defensive strategy for the Steelers last night, your thoughts?
It was criminal. And Terrell Austin, as a defensive coordinator, your job is to put your guys in positions to have success. That was not the case last night. You have Jamar Chase, who is a top 2 receiver in the game. You have T. Higgins and Jamar Chase, who is the number 1 duo from a receiver standpoint in the game. The amount of man coverage that they played last night makes no sense to me. And here are the numbers for Greeny. Joe Flacco threw for 199 yards and 2 touchdowns on 28 dropbacks versus Pittsburgh's man coverage. Chase and Higgins caught 13 of 20 targets on those reps for 151 yards, and the Steelers played man coverage 57% of dropbacks last night, which was a season high. Thank you, Himbo, for that stat. That's inexcusable, in my opinion, going into a football game knowing that you had these lethal wide receivers. Joe Flacco is a guy that we know, if he's protected, that can sling it around with the best of them. All he had to do, or all he needed was to be protected. You play man coverage all night long, and the proof was in the pudding. Let me tell you why.
Yeah.
In the first half, Jalen Ramsey had 2 penalties. Joey Porter Jr. had 2 penalties. So why are you still playing man coverage like that at that depth in the second half? The proof was in the pudding.
Absolutely. So it's a bad night all the way around for the Steelers. Bengals take advantage. What's the story to you, Peter?
I think you're concerned if you're a Steelers fan because this was no surprise. This is a team, the Bengals, that always light the Steelers up in that building. Joe Burrow throws for more yards than even Flacco did. And then in the offseason, they brought in Jalen Ramsey. They brought in Juan Thornhill. They brought in Darius Slay. They brought in Brandon Eccles. And then they re-upped with Deshaun Elliott, and also they drafted Joey Porter Jr. 2 years ago. Like, this was no surprise. This is their weakness, and they really addressed it this offseason. And if you're going to address it and make it a point of emphasis in the offseason and still get lit up through the sky, well, then what hope do we have? The truth of the matter is, Jamar Chase was targeted 23 times. 23 times he was targeted. If that is not dunking on and insulting that defensive backfield and saying, we know what your weakness is and we're going to go at it and we're going to succeed, I don't know what is.
I think it's insulting that pass rush because you go man-to-man because you believe in that pass rush. Now, it's tough as somebody who's played on some great defense that had great corners. Like, you paid $179 million to this defense. This is the most expensive defense in the league. You're going to go down doing what you do. Because I can remember when we had Revis, when we had Chris McAllister, we didn't practice zone coverage. So it's great to say go to zone coverage, play cover 2, but a lot of man corners don't know how to play zone coverage. And I think that's what the mistake was.
So what you're saying is these guys are supposed to be getting after the quarterback.
$179 million, the most expensive defense in the league. You have to do your job.
Joe Fortenbaugh, let me turn to you because our gambling expert extraordinaire. What comes out of last night's result as far as you're concerned?
So now you get the answer as to why the Baltimore Ravens were favored to win the division despite the 1-3 start, despite the 1-4 start. There was no team that was going to run away with it. Pittsburgh might be 4-2. They've been outgained from a yardage standpoint in 5 of 6 games, which includes the Jets game. So how do you bet it? You buy low on Baltimore. To win the division, this is the best price you've been able to get all season, plus 130. Regular season win total, over 8.5 wins. The division's soft, as we've already laid out, but the upcoming schedule for Baltimore, they're going to get healthy off their bye. They get the Steelers twice in the final 5 weeks of the season, and according to ESPN's FPI, 10th easiest schedule the rest of the way out. That team is primed to go on a run where the Steelers team is going to suffer a little bit of regression throughout the rest of the way. You can't win as many one-score games as they've been winning over the last 5+ years.
It's worth pointing it out. Scoring differential, yardage differential, particularly early in the season, sometimes a better indicator than a team's record is of who is really legit. The Steelers have been hovering in that fugazi area, if you will, for quite some time, and last night they certainly looked it. We have this game covered from 100 different directions as the morning continues.